Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to show you how to do some friendship bracelet weaving. We're going to be kind of braiding rope. This is a lesson that I did do this year already with 3rd grade and a little bit for some free time with 5th graders. However, I did not show you the setup instructions. So those of you who do know how to do this, feel free to watch the beginning and I'll show you how to make your own weaving loom. And then those of you who don't know how to use it yet or need a reminder can stick around and I will show you how we braid it. Braiding it is so easy, and once you get it, you get a bracelet so fast. I was really impressed by how fast the students caught on to this year. Alright, so to make your loom, you are going to need a scrap piece of cardboard. You want it to be kind of thick, like a cereal box. I grabbed a pasta box and I just kind of ripped a piece of it off. And what you're going to want to do is find something circular, like anywhere in your house. I'm going to use the inside of this masking tape. You want it to be about that size. It doesn't have to be exact, but you don't want it too big and you don't want it too small. Masking tape circles are a perfect size. Alright, so what you're going to do is you are going to take a marker, pencil, whatever you got, and you're going to trace around the inside, making your circle. Then you are going to cut that shape out. There we go. Alrighty. So, the hardest thing about this is the next thing that we have to cut out is this center circle. I'm going to draw about how big it needs to be. It doesn't need to be super big, but you want it big enough that your weaving is going to be able to fit on the inside. So you want it to kind of be that big. Now, cutting this out is going to be really tricky. This is where I recommend getting an adult to help you out. You can try to carefully take a pencil and you're just going to kind of push it through that center. But again, that can be tricky, so I would have an adult help you do that step. All right, and then on this side, you can kind of just fold those extra bits down and you have your loom almost ready. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to make our slits. We need 8 slits in this piece. To do that, I'm going to first draw them because it's really important that you don't cut past the lines you're drawing. You want the circle to stay sturdy, so we're only going to cut a tiny bit into here. If you accidentally cut too much, you have 2 choices. You can either make another circle or just use some tape to close off those sides that get cut too much. Alright, so what you're going to do, and if you want to watch first so you can see how big the slits are, feel free to do that. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to draw a tiny line here. And then just like a clock, you want it right at 12 o'clock. Then you want your next one to come all the way down to 6 o'clock. Right there at 6 o'clock. Tiny little line. And then come over to 3 o'clock. So the first thing that we're doing is we're splitting our circle into essentially 4 equal pieces. So over here at 3 o'clock, a little slot, and over here at 9 o'clock, a little slot. It's okay if this line is not exactly across from this line, that doesn't matter. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to draw a line in between each one of these sections. So what I mean is I'm going to draw a little line here, about the same size, about halfway. Now again, don't measure, it doesn't have to be perfect. This one again, right in the middle there, in between these two, and in between these two. Alrighty, and then you're going to take your scissors and you only want to cut what's in marker, pen, pencil, whatever you were using. You only want to cut that much. You don't want to cut extra. A tiny bit extra is okay, but you don't want to snip when you're getting too much down in this area because then it won't be as sturdy and it'll be harder for you to weave with it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut all 8 slots. All right, and that should be the last one. Yes. Okay. So that's your loom. That's all you need. Now again, it's made out of cardboard. If this is something that you really like and you do it a lot, it's probably going to get old and kind of the edges aren't going to be as sturdy anymore, but it's really, really easy to make again. You just got to go through your recycling. All right, so set that aside for a minute. The next thing that you're going to need is you are going to need 7 pieces of string. Now I'm using embroidery floss. However, you may use yarn, you may use rope, anything that is not too thick. It needs to be able to kind of slide into the slots here. So you don't want it much thicker than a piece of yarn, but it can be different types of string. You don't want a super, super thick, hard rope though, because that would just break these slots. All right, so this next step is another step you may need an adult for because you need to tie these together with a knot. So how I like to do that is I take my end here, hold all of my strings together. I've gathered them so they're about all the same up here. And you're going to wrap it around your finger and then pulling it off. So that way what you've done is you've left a loop. I'll try to undo it just so you guys can see that. I've left a loop with the strings behind it. And then what you're going to do is you are going to push the rest of those guys through, pull them all out, and then you're just going to tie your knot. I like to make mine close as I can, but again, this is really tricky to do, so if you have a lot extra hanging, just be proud that you are able to do that. And that's your knot. So then we have to get our loom ready. So we have 7 strings and 8 slots. That means that one slot is not going to get a string. Now it doesn't matter where you put each string, just as long as you follow this process. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to take your string and you are going to put it through the hole. You want the whole thing to go down. Just enough that it peeks through on this side, and you can kind of hold it with this hand. Now you're going to take each string one at a time and you're going to find a slot for it. Doesn't matter which slot it goes into, as long as there is only 1 string per slot. And again, you will have 1 slot with nothing in it. So take a minute and get those done. If I do this step faster than you, always pause that video so that you can get caught up. This step can be a little tricksy. You want to take your time with it for sure. 1 slot there, 1 slot above. Alright, so you do want to kind of make these so they're not super wiggly loose. See how I have this big bump on this one that's sticking up? You want to kind of pull this down, and there you are. Alrighty. So what you want to do is you want to have all of your slots around here, and you want your empty slot facing up, facing out 12 o'clock. So what you're going to do when you're weaving is very, very easy. You're just going to repeat the next direction until your weaving is long enough and you're happy with it. So you're going to, from this top empty one, you're going to count 1, 2, 3. You're going to lift that one out and you're going to pull it up into the empty one. Then you want to make sure again that you're kind of pulling it so it's not super loose. So it's a bit tight. You don't want to pull too hard that you rip it though. Just be gentle. Then spin so you're back, the empty one's back up at 12. You go 1, 2, 3. You take that one out. and you bring it up to the top slot. And you're just going to keep doing that until it's long enough. So again, bring it back up to 12. Empty's always at the top. Lift out the third, 1 on over, spin. Empty's at the top, 1, 2, 3. Lift it out, put it to the top, spin it. Count 1, 2, 3. Lift it out, move it to that one, spin it. This is at the top, 1, 2, 3. Take it out, bring it to the top, and you're just going to keep doing that until you're done. The last thing I do want to show you though is as you're doing this, especially if your strings are long, you are going to kind of start to get a tangled mess. So very carefully, as you are doing this, you are going to want to be combing your fingers through the strings to untangle them, or you're going to get a giant knot that is not going to be happy to work with. All right, but again, you just have empty at the top, 2, 3, lift up, move on, and then turn. Empty at the top, 1, 2, 3, lift out, move up. Empty at the top, 1, 2, 3, lift up, lift out, and always remembering to every once in a while comb out those extra strings. All right, when you are all done with this, you are going to remove all of these from the loom. So if I was done, I would take all of these strings off. All the strings come off. Very carefully, you want to pinch at the end there so you don't lose that little bit that you have. I mean, I don't have that much because I was just doing a few to get you guys going. But then again, you're going to do that same overhand knot where you wrap it around your finger, making that loop, bringing it up and through. And then you would save whatever you had done. Alrighty. I hope you guys enjoyed that and had fun making those friendship bracelets. And I will see you in the next video.